Hey, it's Fitz, and if you don't know who I am, here's a quick bio. I'm a veteran sports journalist who writes, does TV, radio, daily YouTube videos, and I'm a longtime podcaster. Also, I have metastatic stage 4 prostate cancer that came out of remission in 2023. During the pandemic, my doctors advised me to stay at home, and the Life of Fitz podcast was born. 5 years later, I'm back in my cancer battle and continuing this podcast with season 6. As I call the many people I've met through my 35 years in sports journalism, and those who are involved in my cancer journey. Plus, we'll add in a few friends we've met along the way who are facing their own obstacles in life. Welcome to my life and the Life of Fitz podcast. Presented by the great people at Blueville Nursery in Manhattan. The life of an assistant football coach is a vagabond existence. You're here, and the next year you're somewhere else. As soon as you get settled in, the coach gets fired. Things are constantly happening, and you need to adjust to those circumstances and build your own network. Because to survive in the profession of college football coaching, you got to know people. Matt Wells' history, today's guest on The Life of Fitz, is just exactly that, bouncing all over the place until he found where his feet belonged, and that's kind of where it all started. He was a college quarterback at Utah State in beautiful Logan, Utah. And he found himself back there as an assistant coach, and 3 years later, or 2 years later, he's the head coach. It all fell into place for Matt Wells. And after some great success there, he went to Texas Tech and lasted about 2.5 seasons through a pandemic. I don't think he got a fair shake in Lubbock, but the pandemic just kind of changed the math for everyone. What was good? What was bad? What was patient? What was being too patient? And those were tough decisions a lot of athletic directors and coaches had to make. Out he went, spent a couple years at Oklahoma as an offensive analyst, where he sat back and enjoyed the job of just coaching football instead of recruiting and all the other stuff. And now he's in Manhattan, Kansas. He came 18 months ago to replace Colin Klein as quarterback coach. And after one season, he's now the offensive coordinator also. I suspect if Chris Kleiman would hang him up, he'd probably be the next head coach at Kansas State, but let's not discuss that. Matt Wells is an interesting dude. He reminds me a lot of a very good friend of mine, Marcus Watts. And if you know Marcus, you're going to notice it in Matt Wells too. But this is a quality person, high energy person, and a whale of a football coach. He has a lot on his plate now, so I'm really happy he took time to talk to me on the Life of Fitz podcast. And this one is about his journey and overcoming some of the things you have to overcome as a coach, including a firing that doesn't make much sense to you. And how do you handle that? Do you remain bitter, or do you move on and find happiness elsewhere? Well, I'm going to let you guess on what that is, but he's happy to be in Manhattan, Kansas, and I'm happy to welcome him in now to the Life of Fitz podcast from the Veneer Football Complex. Let's talk to football coach Matt Wells right here in Manhattan, Kansas. And now from his offices in the Veneer Football Complex, that is the one and only Matt Wells. Coach, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad you found time for me. I was telling you before we started that I know it's busy, but is there a time it's not busy? Even when you take vacation, it seems like shit happens. It's crazy.
Oh, you said it, not me. I think, it's going to slow down a lot for us next week. Coach gives us a little bit of time off, and so we're gonna take some time off. But I'm telling you, right up until that time, it's 1,000 miles an hour, Fitz. Just with recruits being on campus almost every day, official visits, our camps, so unofficial guys and camps with the 27s and the 28s, the young guys, and then we're game planning. We're game planning, and then the fourth thing would be our current players and in early with the early morning runs, and then meeting with them on occasion and getting to teach them some ball and install some stuff. But man, it's full speed right now, but it'll come to a screeching halt pretty soon.
Good. Well, you've been at Kansas State now for, 18 months.
Yep.
You've already gotten a promotion, so you're doing something right. What's been your K-State experience so far, and what's it like working for Chris Kleiman?
Awesome. almost exactly what I thought it was going to be. It's just so consistent. People don't understand how consistent Chris is, and there's no drama. There's very, very little drama in this program, internally or outside. And coach does a great job of just steadying the ship. He's consistent. We know what we're getting day in and day out. I knew that. I knew it was going to be the case when I chose to come work for him. And really good friend, but someone I have grown to respect more and more. He's so smart. People don't have any idea how smart he is. And he's got a handle Fitz on everything in this program in terms of everything off the field, whether it's our performance staff, the strength staff, sports science, training room, recovery, offense, defense, special teams, recruiting, rev share, raising. The guy can do it all, and he knows what's going on. He manages it all, but he does it in such a humble way that not any of us ever get the feeling that he's micromanaging us. And that is a rare quality amongst leaders like coach, and phenomenal leader. He stirs the drink, if you will, here. And man, we all just fall in line, and I just want to make him proud. I want him to be happy with our product on offense. And, but he's a guy that I think gives you structure and gives you flexibility within the structure, but you also want to please him in what the final product is.
In doing my vast research for this interview, all like 10 minutes, I'm fascinated though by your career. You've coached at some really like different levels, different things. And what I'm trying to say here is you played at Utah State, became the head coach at Utah State, but you started at Navy, which is a whole, an academy is a whole different beast. And before you came to Kansas State, you're an analyst at Oklahoma, which is a true blue blood of this game. It's been an interesting journey to end up here in Manhattan.
Very humble, very thankful for it. I didn't know how it was going to turn out. I didn't know what else to do at 23 years old, Fitz. I gave myself 5 years. I said, if I can become a full-timer in 5 years, then I'll stay. And so went to the Naval Academy and started out as just a young, basically the GA and bagel boy, and became the JV head coach and coached the fullbacks and still picked up all the bagels. And then my 5th year, I became the receivers coach, and we got fired at the end of that year. And we were pregnant with Jadyn. And, you don't know young guys don't know very many guys in the profession. No. And we had just been on a staff that got fired. And so not a lot of people calling me back. I can promise you that. And then the journey began, and just thankful for so many coaches that have poured into me, other assistants that I've been with, mentored me along the way, and all the stops. I've learned something at all the stops. They were all special in different ways. And now to get to coach here at Kansas State, which is a very consistent winning program, and has been for over 2 decades. You're looking at 3 decades of a lot of success here in the purple. And I'm thankful to be here. I have a phenomenal room, the quarterback room, the guys with me on offense. We got a bunch of really good coaches in there. And man, I'm enjoying this stage of my career, this stop. I hope it'll be quite a while. It's fun because it's coaching. We coach, we recruit, we go home. Coach lets us, be good dads and good husbands and have the time away. But when we're here, we work hard, we work long hours. We know what we signed up for, but I love it. I love the coaches I'm with every day, the staff, and I love these players. And I'm here to serve them in that room and help them go chase goals and their dreams that they can't do themselves. And I think that's the essence of coaching, is to help those quarterbacks go chase their dreams.
Well, the life of an assistant coach is bouncing around. He spent a little bit of time at Navy, at least. Then you go to Tulsa, spend some time there. And then the bouncing starts. You got a couple seasons at New Mexico, Louisville, back to New Mexico. And then you get home to Utah State. And at that point, you had to feel, I don't know if a young coach ever feels settled, but you're back on familiar ground in 2011. Yep. And you're back in Logan. That had to feel good.
It did. the bouncing around wasn't by design.
No, it's never
I thought I was going to go to New Mexico with Rocky Long being there, and Rocky was an alum and had a ton of success and really stayed there for quite a while. Wyatt was born in Albuquerque. Our girls were born in Tulsa. I thought we'd be in Albuquerque for quite a while, and then 2 years into it, he decided to retire. Obviously, he got back in and coached for quite a while after. But I think to your point, when I got to Utah State, that was really what I wanted to do. I wanted to call plays and coach the quarterbacks at my alma mater. I didn't really get into the profession and start progressing in the profession to really become a head coach. I just wanted to call plays at Utah State and coach the quarterbacks at my alma mater, and that was awesome. And that was, the 8 years we spent in Logan were pivotal years for our children, and really probably where they say they're from. Not any of the three were born there, but they would say they're from there because they spent 8 years there. In a coach's life, 8 years, a long time at one spot. Mm-hmm. So, but Utah State's that's my school, always will be.
Yep.
You spend, for me, a total of 13 years there. That place is special, and it's a good program, and it's something that I look back on, and those were great days. To your point,
I think I asked this at one of your initial press conferences. I saw a study that Logan was named the most scenic college town in America, and from the photos I've seen, I would tend to agree.
Yeah, beautiful stadium, Maverick Stadium, right there at the base of the mountains, and it's beautiful.
I don't know, mountains and sheep fields, it's kind of hard to pick. The mountains smell better, I know that. But yeah, that had to be, quite the turn of events to go there, end up there, coach the quarterbacks, and then 2 seasons in, you're the head coach, boss. You're the guy. What was that process like? That's an incredible just jump in your career right there.
Yeah, that was fast. We won. It was fun. We had really good players. Bottom line, we had really good players. And I was coaching a really good quarterback, Chucky Keaton, still one of the best I've ever coached. Guy takes the Wisconsin job, Coach Anderson, our head coach. And the next question was, do you want to come to Wisconsin and be the offensive coordinator? And the answer is yes. Yeah. You don't have any other choice, and you don't know. And I asked him, I said, Gary, are we going to be okay getting in the gun and getting an empty and doing some different things? And he said, Matt, we'll talk about that later. And 48 hours, I was the next head coach at Utah State. And that was a crazy 48 hours. I didn't even own a suit. Jen had to go pick one off the rack at Dillard's. That's real talk. I didn't have a suit for the press conference. So, but good times. And like you said, it was a whirlwind.
What is there an overall theme for your time as head coach at Utah State? You guys were really good.
Yeah, it was fun. I said it again. I'll say it again. We had good players.
Yeah.
We had really good players. As I look back, Utah State it's a small version of Kansas State in a lot of ways. My wife, Jen, and the kids, they think it's very similar. The size of the town, Kansas State's on a way bigger stage and platform, very well aware of that in the Big 12. I get that. And there's no mountains. I get that too. But just a college town, blue collar, tough, hardworking kids that care about football. Man, they care about football. They're always in this complex. Our guys here at K-State, Utah State. I remember Josh Heupel coming. He coached for me for 1 year as the OC. And I remember at some point in the offseason, there were a ton of players in there on a Saturday morning. They had just gotten in some extra needs and were doing some things volunteer, the unrequired, on their own, and they were in watching some tape on a Saturday morning in the winter. And he said, I see why y'all win now. It just means a lot. But it's just like our kids at K-State. It means a lot here. Football's important. They're great kids, great in the community supportive, and those are the important things in their life. And I look back, there's a lot of similarities, but when I look back at Utah State, that's the thing that I'm the most proud of is those players. And we won a ton of games, but there's a lot of good players that chase their dreams in the NFL. Some are still playing in the NFL, and a lot of those guys are good dads and good husbands. And man, those players I look back on, those 8 years were awesome.
So 2019, you head to Lubbock, Texas. What was it about that job? I mean, it's a significant jump up in your career, but what led you to Lubbock?
Yeah, I think, more than anything, I thought I fit, still did, and still do. I've recruited Texas almost my whole career, and I knew Oklahoma was going to be a part of that recruiting in a small way, and just obviously familiar with that. In the Big 12, I thought we fit just in terms of the schemes and what we did. It was, it was a tough transition, and we knew that going in. And taking that over. But that was a good opportunity. And I thought, our staff was going to fit there. And, I look back on it, Fitz, and probably would still do it again. Absolutely. And knew what we were getting into, and proud of the way that, I think that as we transitioned through that thing, obviously wish you would have won a lot faster, a lot sooner. I mean, let's be real. I understand that we're in a results-oriented business, but to what we inherited, and the people that really know what we inherited and what we left 3 years later with, there's no question it was an improved product. The players, the recruiting, the toughness, the physicality, all of that stuff, and we get let go at 5-3 and right after a loss to the Wildcats, but proud of them becoming bowl eligible, and no regrets, none. And I know it's a results oriented business. I get that, and someone wanted a different leadership, and that's fine. They have that right. So no hard feelings. I am way over that. Still pull for all those players, especially the ones that we had a chance to recruit and to coach. And so, and they're special people in Lubbock. We still have very, very, very good friends there in Lubbock. And so, Fitz, that was a period of time where a lot of people would think, oh, that was such a bad time. And I just know what we inherited and what we left. We're proud of that.
Yep.
And no question, it was an improvement, no doubt. And sometimes I wish the results had happened faster.
You took over a mess and went 4-8. The pandemic hits. You went 4-6, which K-State did too. That season shouldn't even count because it was such chaos. And then on October 23rd, 2021, you're 5-2 playing Kansas State at home. And things you're in control at halftime. It's 24-10, if I recall correctly. And then everything just flipped on a dime. I mean, Felix Anudike-Uzomah makes that play for the safety, and it seems like the whole game shifted right there.
It did.
I know you said you're over it. For some damn reason, I'm not over it. How the hell did you get fired at 5-3 after a 1-point defeat to a pretty damn good team in Kansas State? I don't get that.
Yeah, really good team. K-State's had Texas Tech's number for a long time.
Yeah.
It's been that way. I know it was before I got there, and we struggled beating them too. But Felix's safety, that absolutely turned the tide. I remember it like it was yesterday down there in the south end zone. That was tough. Didn't see it coming. Happened mid-Monday morning after the K-State game. And but you know what? Things happen. They can take your keys away, Fitz. They can take your title and your job away. But what they can't take away is your integrity, the way that you did things, the relationships that you built. You can't go back at that time. You can't go back and change anything. You can't change conversations. You can't change decisions you made. And so you have to live with it. And the relationships that we had with those players in that building, our coaches and our staff, and what we did there, those will be the memories that I keep, that I know that we made differences in those players' lives and in the program.
That was a weird year. I think Chris Kleiman went on a wrecking ball through the conference. I think Gary Patterson went out after a K-State loss too. None of it makes sense to me, but You end up at Oklahoma, and even though you weren't a full-time coach, you were serving as an analyst. Getting to a program like that had to be an interesting step in your growth to see how life is at the blue blood level.
Yeah. Well, I'm thankful the Lord led us to OU. Had some other opportunities, but Coach Venables is a great friend of mine, still is. K-State alum. I'm going to tell you, the guy loves K-State.
He does.
Loves Manhattan. And but the opportunity to go there was perfect. Brent was really, really good to me, and he was good for me in so many ways as a coach. And all I did was try to help him in his journey as a first-time head coach, but a veteran coach. He's coached for a long time, 30 years. But and to help on the offense with Jeff, with Coach Levy and the quarterbacks, that was awesome. But also for me as a dad and a husband, we made the decision to stay in Lubbock, so our middle child Ella could graduate. And so Brent was phenomenal. The way he laid it all out, he allowed me to go back and forth between Lubbock and Norman, and we did that. Jen stayed with the kids in Lubbock. And so just to go back and forth, being there most of the off season, back in Norman during spring ball and during the summer, kind of right now at this time of the year for OVs and camps and some game planning. And then in the season, I had an apartment there near campus but getting to go back and forth. I watched Wyatt play some 8th grade and 9th grade football games that I wouldn't have seen had I been the head coach at Texas Tech. He went to a brand new school that played 5 o'clock on Thursdays, and Brent Venables let me leave at noon on Thursday. And I went to watch Wyatt play on Thursday night somewhere in West Texas, put a lot of miles on that truck and drove back to Norman that if I was the head coach at Texas Tech, I wouldn't have seen, or I'd been late to. And so I'm grateful. I'm very, very thankful for that. Those are times that I don't get back to watch my kid play ball. And so I'm super grateful and thankful for that. And was able to see that right in the middle of something that may not have been good for me, but that was a blessing in disguise. But learned a lot at OU. It was fun because it was ball. Mm-hmm. There was no compliance. There was no academics. There was no recruiting till the kids got on campus. I helped recruit on campus, but it was scheming. And the lights just went out in here. Telling me to go home. No, it's too early. But it was awesome. It was a great experience. The first year was tough, but our second year, is at one point we were 8-0 and top 10 in the country, and then lost a couple late. So, but great experience. And, I think being around Dylan Gabriel was awesome for me too, to see a quarterback Dylan's a pro. He's a pro, and watching him operate and what he did to get ready for a game during the week, during the season, arm care that he did, getting his body right. Those are all really valuable for me as a coach as I took that as a growth and that step in my career.
Let's take a short break and hear from our sponsor, Blueville Nursery.
For competitively priced landscape design, irrigation, and lawn maintenance, turn to Blueville Nursery, a family-owned business with more than 50 years of experience. You can trust the Blueville team to design and create a landscape that will accentuate your property's aesthetics. And visit our garden store 6 days a week for the best products in the area. From ornamental trees, shrubs, and flowers, Blueville has it all. Blueville Nursery, located on West Anderson Avenue in Manhattan, Kansas.
Now, let's return to the studio. Coach, from everything you've just described in the process of your career, you strike me that you do a good job living where your feet are. You can't go back and change what's happened, and you don't know what's going to the future. You got to live where you are and deal with the circumstances in which you're dealing with.
I think that's what God calls us to do, is to be present, be where your feet are. I got that advice as a young coach. My first couple of years, Fitz, at the Naval Academy, there was a coach at a convention, and he was talking about realistic goals. And I'll never forget it. I talked to him when the speech was over, and he said, "Here's what I'm saying, Matt. It's you're a GA at the Naval Academy. Right now, you don't really have any clue about this coaching profession. Don't say you want to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. That was a direct quote. He goes, you need to worry about being a great GA at the Naval Academy, and then maybe like in the summer and some of your off time, you get ready and you kind of prepare for maybe that first position job like a receivers coach or something as you kind of go up the ladder. And that's what I did. And as I was a receivers coach and a tight ends coach in the summer, I would prepare my quarterback manuals in the summer and in hopes of one day getting to coach the quarterback and putting my thoughts together. And Jim Zorn, who I played for at Utah State, really helped me with a lot of those initial thoughts and how to put those together. But really, it's about being where your feet are. When I was at OU, I was all in. I wanted to help Jeff Levy, and I wanted to help Brent Venables and Dylan Gabriel, and that was it. And I just wanted to provide value. And then along the way, honestly, I learned. I just wanted to learn, and I learned more about an organization at OU with all the different facets because of how big it was. From, with Joe Castiglione and Brent Venables and how they were running that operation, but also learning from Jeff Levy and some intricacies in the passing game and the things that Jeff has been around in his career, and what a resource for me to be able to learn.
Well, and while you're at OU, Kleiman does it again. He comes in there and wins a big game. Are you thinking this son of a gun? He just keeps pulling these games out of the fire against us.
Yeah, I mean, went 0-3 against him at K-State, and I thought, okay, here we are. We're 3-0 at Oklahoma. Finally going to get these suckers in Norman. Nah, didn't. Adrian Martinez kicked our butt.
He was incredible that day.
Yeah, he was awesome. He was awesome. We couldn't tackle him. Colin started calling some tempo. Our defense wasn't ready for it. It was a shootout. But, yeah, I go 0-4. Deuce Vaughn beats me 4 straight years. The teams I've been on still haven't tackled him. And then I get to K-State, and I'm like, where's Deuce Vaughn? Where's this dude at? He's going to the NFL. Golly, are you kidding me?
Yep. Yeah, he's one of the great college football players. I don't know that he'll ever do much in the NFL. He's so small, but he was almost impossible at times.
No, what a great player.
Yep. So how did the Kansas State job develop? Colin goes to A&M. At what point did Chris call you, and how long did it take you to think, yeah, that's what I'm doing?
Yeah, I think it was during that bowl prep of 23. K-State was in where was K-State? In Orlando, right? And we were in San Antonio. So it was just during that bowl prep when Colin was leaving, and what an opportunity for Colin. Colin's a great friend of mine. Yeah. And he used to come out and visit us when we were at Utah State. So I've known Colin since he was a GA. And what a sharp guy, and a really good quarterback coach, really good recruiter. Thanks for recruiting Avery, Colin. And it's been awesome coaching him. I know that. But just during that time in December, and Coach said, hey, I think it's time. I want you to come up here and help us. And I said, what does it look like? And we just talked, and great friend for a long time. Everybody knows I tried to hire him at Utah State, and he said no. And we kind of struck up a friendship, and then obviously came into the league within, I think, a week of each other in 2018, December of 2018, and talked a lot during COVID. I know that we were trying to figure things out, but just the opportunity to be in a consistent winning program. I came here for one reason, and it was Chris Kleiman. I make no bones about it. I tell every recruit, every parent that I get to talk to, I came for one guy, and that was him. I also came to coach Avery Johnson in this quarterback room, but Manhattan has grown on us. The university, what a loyal fan base, phenomenal fan base that I had been on the wrong end of for so many years. And it's good to be here and be on this side. But this program, the town, everything's grown on us. It's a great place. We only have one kid left in the house, and Wyatt's doing a great job, and he's growing, and he's at a school with a bunch of great coaches and guys helping mentor him. And Fitz, it's been a great fit for me here at K-State.
It's been a kind of a whirlwind. I mean, you come as offensive coordinator, or you an assistant offense coordinator, and all of a sudden you work your way up. Connor goes and leaves. Again, you find yourself ascending very quickly. But I think I want to talk about your quarterbacks you've coached through the years. It's been kind of you mentioned a quarterback earlier, and now you have Avery, who is, potentially an outstanding quarterback. He shows flashes of incredible stuff. But has there been a common theme with your quarterbacks that you've seen?
Somebody else asked me this maybe earlier this spring, not too long ago. I think the common theme you see with the best quarterbacks that I've coached, but I think you see it in, Jeff Levy coached Dylan Gabriel, but I was right there and got to watch it and just help where needed. So he certainly fits in this too, because I think Dylan's elite. But from Chucky Keaton to Jordan Love to, we had Tyler Shuck for a year at Texas Tech. And then, Baron Morton, who's the starter there now that I recruited and we coached there. And Baron's had a great career. He's got another year to go. And now Avery. All of these guys, I tell you what's interesting is they have a great mix of uber confident, but yet have a humble heart. They're thankful for what they've been given. They're thankful for opportunities. Avery is no exception. He's the same as that. He's super humble. He's great in the community here. He's thankful. But don't mistake that Mr. Nice Guy and the long blonde hair and all that. A dude is a freaking warrior inside those white lines. Like, he's legit, and he can flip a switch, and you have to. You have to at this level. You have to be uber confident. But man, this dude, like, he wants to slice and dice people up big time. Like, he's exactly what every K-State fan wants off the field. But I'm just telling you, when he puts the helmet on inside the lines and he's in the arena, those 10 guys around him, they know. I mean, guy's the best guy on the field, and he's going to play like that. And that's our goal. And that's what we talk about. But, in outside of the bravado and all that maybe I'm trying to portray right now, he is so smart. And he's involved in our game plans, as he should be. He's earned the right to be involved in that. But he has reasons why things work, and he studies. And, man, I respect the heck out of him.
Yeah, he made obvious progress last year, and I'm excited to see him in 25 because I think he's going to be that much better. And I want to talk about him some more, but I want to back up real quick and talk about Jordan Love, a guy that ends up first-round pick of the Green Bay Packers. What was the recruiting process like? I mean, we're talking about a 6'4" quarterback out of Bakersfield. 6'4" athletic quarterbacks just don't sit around everywhere. How did you end up getting him to Utah State?
Yeah. Well, first of all, he wasn't 6'4".
Oh,
when we signed him, he was not. I don't know. I'd have to look it up, maybe the internet or something. He was 6'1", 6'2". He grew in Logan. He grew at Utah State. He grew taller. He was skinny. I'm going to tell you, 6'1", 170. He may have been 175. And he was young for his age. And he, I don't know, maybe 17 barely when he came. He was a mid-year graduate when his mom, Anna, dropped him off in Logan. Jen and I met her at the dorm. I mean, I remember it like it was yesterday. And Miss Anna's a police officer there in Bakersfield, and raised two other young ladies, and Jordan did a great job. Tough on him, tough love. I mean, when she dropped him off at Utah State, she looked at him and she looked at Jen and said, "Hey, Jen, take care of my baby boy." And then she looked right at me and she said, "Matt, kick his ass." And I don't know if I should have said that, but
it's all right. I've already cursed.
Have you? Well, that's not a cuss word. That's in the Bible. So I'm in trouble. My wife, can you edit that? My wife's going to rip me.
I'm not editing that.
That was a direct
all.
quote, so that doesn't count, right? Okay. That was Anna Love that said that. Jordan grew at Utah State. Jordan was under the radar. Jordan had 2 FCS offers, and that was it. We were the only Division I school to offer him.
Crazy.
He came to our camp in the summer. Josh Heupel was my offensive coordinator. Josh and I think one of our managers went into the stadium. It was a camp day, but he had to come early or late. So we were in the stadium all by ourselves, and we put him through an individual workout in the stadium. Tried to put pressure on him. We chased him. We moved him in the pocket, and Josh Heupel and myself were chasing him. The kid was super accurate and had a strong arm, very natural release. You see him today.
Yep.
Man, Jordan's a self-made man too now. I tip my hat to that guy. That guy's worked his butt off for everything he's ever gotten. Man, I'm so proud of him.
Yeah, heck of a quarterback. Was it that first initial seeing him at that camp, that tryout, that you're like, oh my, this is legit? Or
we liked him. We liked him off of video, but he didn't have crazy numbers. I mean, it wasn't like he threw for 3,000 yards his junior year. So underdeveloped, and again, not real big, and stats weren't crazy. But Josh really liked him on tape and brought him to me, and we brought him into camp, and we liked him live. We did. We trusted our eyes, and I guess the rest is history. I don't know. I mean, it took him a while to play. He didn't play real early. We redshirted him, and then he was a backup in 17 and played him about, I don't know, like every third series in 2017. And he just kept making progress. And then, I mean, truth be told, he threw 3 picks, I think 2 or 3 picks. You could look it up against Josh Allen in Wyoming. They got us on a couple of crazy. They dropped out a couple D linemen and he threw a pick. I thought it was my fault because we hadn't seen the pressure and they kind of trapped our hots, and he threw 2 or 3 picks, and then I started him the next Monday. I don't know, everybody thought I was crazy against UNLV, and he tore it up and never looked back after that.
What a college football game, an off the radar game against 2 guys that are going to be first round picks in the NFL.
Yeah, that's another guy that had one offer. I mean, I think Wyoming was the only one that offered Josh.
In my profession, we talk so much about star ratings. This guy's a 4-star, 5-star. You've got one of those coming in. But at programs like Utah State, Tech to a degree, and Kansas State, certainly, in my opinion, you got to be able to find the guys that aren't quite there. Once in a while, you'll get a guy like Avery or Lincoln Cure, but you also got to find the guys that I can see what he could be if we can get him there.
No.
That takes some balls. It's easy to recruit a guy that everyone knows is good, but to go get that 3-star guy or 2-star guy that you like, yeah, I see it. That takes something special in a coach, and obviously that's something you've had, and that's got to help you in your job at Kansas State right now in this recruiting process.
Yeah, I look at Kansas State. I know Bill Snyder and Chris Kleiman both done a phenomenal job of finding the guys that you just described. Some of those guys have multiple offers, but they're a little lower recruited, and some are walk-ons. Some are guys that came here and this was the only opportunity they were given. DJ Giddens, Ben Sinnott. I know that. Austin Moore. I mean, you have a lot of those stories. We were very similar at Utah State. I got a lot of one-offer guys in the NFL. We had a lot of one-offer guys at Utah State in the NFL. There's one, Jalen Davis, still playing starting nickel for the Bengals. He's a one-offer corner out of San Diego and was a 4-year starter at Utah State, and now he's going into year whatever, I don't know, 7 or 8. And so Kansas State has had those. We certainly did at Utah State. I didn't know any other way, though. I was at Tulsa. We were that way at Tulsa. We were that way at New Mexico. And we were finding good football players, and we were developing them, and they were developing themselves in the weight room. And the strength coaches that I was around at Tulsa and New Mexico and at Utah State, those guys, I mean, they they took that stuff personal, and they were tremendous at developing guys. Just Kansas State, I mean, this place has made their living on that. And to your point, we have some guys that were very highly recruited that come in and they develop themselves too. You would never say Avery Johnson's a developmental kid because he was such a highly recruited kid, but Avery Johnson has improved a lot in the 18 months I've been here. And you know what? He's got more to go. And he would tell you that too. The ceiling, he's still got he's still climbing. We still have work to do here. He's nowhere near a finished product. And the time that I get to spend with him and Avery does on his own with a quarterback trainer and the strength coaches, I mean, those guys, there's a lot of people that have a hand in helping develop him. But you would never say that about him, but he has a developmental mindset, which I love.
And he learned some lessons that first year as a starter. He made some mistakes. I remember talking to him immediately after the Rape Bowl against Rutgers, and he had a pretty horrendous interception in that game. And he said, the second I let it go, I thought, what am I doing? You know, there was literally a defender there. How much has he learned those tough lessons heading into this second season as a starter?
Well, Fitz, quarterbacks have to play through them.
Yep.
I can't create that in the meeting room as much as I would love to. It's hard to create some of those scenarios, and Coach Kleiman does a great job, but it's hard as a head coach to create every scenario that kid's going to see and go through as the starting quarterback. And fans don't want to hear this, and I don't want to say it, but sometimes you have to learn to live through it and figure it out. I think the moment of the year for him, in my opinion, was the Oklahoma State game. And it was early in the game, and we called a shot, and he went to check it down to the running back, and he just overthrew him. And if you're a quarterback and you're a quarterback coach, or you're coaching the quarterback, and you throw it enough times, the cost of doing business, you're going to have some that you overthrow. It just happens. It's a physical mistake. I never yell at him. I never get onto him. I've thrown more than he's thrown. I know that. But you're going to have an overthrow or an underthrow or something. Things are going to happen. Tips or picks. We say that all the time. And so those things happen. What you don't want to make is a bad decision, or you don't want to coach them into an interception. Those are the ones we're trying to avoid. But there was a growth moment that day right out here against Oklahoma State when he overthrew him, because he had an opportunity to kind of mentally beat himself up big time that had happened in Provo. And that's what happened in Provo. We threw the pick right before. I say we because it's mine. It's my pick. I say it all the time. It's on me. We throw the pick right before the halftime, and they go into score, and we lose momentum. And we come out at the third quarter, and he would tell you this too. We tried to make it up. We tried to make up for it in one pass, and we didn't do it. We didn't layer it over the linebacker, and he picked it. Now we got another pick early in the third quarter, and that was hard for us to overcome mentally. And we just forced it. It was just forcing the ball, and I know, take what they give you, right? But the moment in the Oklahoma State game when he said, I'm good. Okay, I'm good. And he overcame it, and then, phenomenal game, right? Running and throwing, and that was a growth moment on the sidelines for Avery Johnson was that day, and there's more to come. I know that. And but he is he's got a mindset of a warrior, but he's got a mindset of somebody that wants to be coach. And I love that.
Its physical transformation from the end of last season to now is a little bit shocking. I mean, he likes to take his shirt off. He gets in those social media pictures. If I look like that, I would too. I would have my shirt off right now. I'd be doing this without a shirt if I had that kind of muscle tone. But he went to work, didn't he?
He did. Yeah, he's over 200 pounds, and he's doing a good job of keeping it on. Now we got to try to just keep gaining a little bit more this summer and keep it on during training camp so he can play a little bit heavier.
Is he the fastest quarterback you've had?
I don't know if I'll coach another one that fast. And listen, I say that to recruits. I don't need to. Like, you don't have to be 23 miles an hour to be an elite quarterback.
No.
He just is. Like, when he breaks a run in this conference, you got a chance to raise a finger on the sidelines and say, kick it, like extra point. Yeah. He is 23 miles. I mean, he can flat go. So, yeah, I mean, the reality is I won't 10 more years of coaching, I won't coach another one that fast.
What you take over as offensive coordinator now, and what are fans going to notice a change in the offensive philosophy? What does Matt Wells bring to this that might alter the look of Kansas State's offense?
Well, okay. So, how transparent are we going to be here on this question? I think this. I think we are who we are. Mm-hmm. And I say we, Kansas State, we, Matt Wells, but also we have some different pieces than we had last year.
Right.
Okay. So whether it was me or it's Connor Riley or whoever is sitting here, we change. We were different last year than the year before. Drastically, no, but subtly, yes. We played to DJ Giddens' strengths. We did. DJ's not here anymore. But I can't wait. I can't wait to call plays for Joe and for Dylan and for Jace and the rest of the receivers and those transfers and the tight end room. So we will look different. How I don't know if I quite know it yet. Technique, you like that?
Yeah, that was nice. It was a really beautiful.
Yeah, I've done it. It happens when I'm watching tape. Usually I just turn them out so I don't have to deal with it. But yeah, and you know what, Fitz, I think we will have an idea more in training camp. But I'll also say this: we're going to evolve as the year goes on, right? And so you do it in two different ways. You evolve because you're getting really good at some things, and some guys you learn and they gain confidence of what they do best. What does Tibbs do best? What does JB do best? Our tight end room. What do they all individually do the best? How about Jace? What about Dylan? Joe? How about Antonio Martin, our one of our new running backs? What about one of the freshman running backs? We're going to learn more about them. And as we learn more about us as an offense, I think you evolve that way as the season goes on. And then you're also oftentimes you're going to be forced to evolve because of an injury or maybe some things that you don't do well, whether it's gap schemes or it's zone schemes this year, or these backs are more this kind of back, all of those kind of things. So got a better idea what we have with Avery. I've got a better idea what we have with Jace and Dylan and Joe, the guys coming back, but some of the new guys still getting a feel for them. So I know this, we're going to need to come out hitting on all cylinders game one. I mean, those guys are good, and we don't have 3 or 4 games to figure it out. I know that. We have to come out smoking, but I do think we will evolve into what we do best and what we're doing better as the year goes on. But we have to be really good game one.
Let's talk about game one. This is a huge stage for any program. Kansas State and Iowa State are very similar programs, similar schools, similar towns. This game feels like it has some real weight to it because it's how you're starting a season, and both teams feel like they could be pretty good. But if you're going to be pretty good, you don't want to start 0-1. Yeah. I mean, you easily can recover from it, but this game's huge.
It is. It'll have Big 12 ramifications later in the year. You win it, you gain momentum. You lose, you got to rebound. I don't need to make it any bigger for our players on offense than it is already. Mm-hmm. I don't think you win it. I don't think there'll be one of us get back on that plane for however long it's going to take to get back that think we've arrived by any means. If we don't win it, I don't think it's I don't think, oh my gosh, we're going to have a bad season. Maybe that's the former head coach coming out in me or not, but is it important? Are you kidding me? Yeah. Farmageddon? Yeah. Across the pond? Yeah. It's a big deal. But it's a game. We're going to go play. We're going to be ready. We're going to play well, and we're going to give our kids a chance to go compete and to play well. And I'm excited as heck to watch them. And but it's game one. it's game
Right.
one of we've got to go play the next week. I know that. Play the week after that, and it's a long season.
Does Matt Wells want to be a head coach again?
Yeah, I don't. Maybe. Have to be the right spot. Have to be the right time. I'm happy where I'm at. I really am. I wanted Wyatt to have a really good high school experience. He is. So I'm happy coaching Avery and that whole quarterback room. Man, we've got great dudes, Blake and Knuth and Duff, Hudson. I mean, I got a great room. I'm really, really lucky, Fitz. There's some of that head coaching job I don't miss one bit.
Especially now.
I love what I'm doing. I love scheming, dreaming. I walk in here and watch our guys run at 6 a.m. and then, man, we start meeting as an offensive staff and we're watching tape and we're watching Army and we're watching whoever, Arizona, watching Iowa State, trying to put our guys in the best position. That's fun. That's why you got in it to begin it. Is the scheming and coaching and developing. And then one day the guy goes to Wisconsin and you're like, what in the world? I'm a head coach. Somebody, where's the cliff notes? Nobody trained me to be a head coach. I had to figure it out. There's some days that I love being a head coach. I love the interaction with the whole team and the defense and the leadership models. And it's just shifted. It's a different role. I know this. The guy a couple doors down, man, this dude's one of the best. I hope Kansas State, I hope people really appreciate Chris for who he is, Coach Kleiman, for who he is, what he's done, what he will do. The dude's elite. He is one of the best in our profession. He doesn't get near enough credit. And part of that is because he's not beating his own drum. Okay. He's not tooting his own horn. He's not on ESPN every other day, soliciting interview. That's not Chris.
Nope.
Dude's good though. He is really, really good. And I tell recruits and parents that I would pay for my kid to be a walk-on in this program if he had a spot, if he had a roster spot. The stuff that we do for our players internally outside of football and the mentoring and all the other stuff outside of football, it's legit. He does a phenomenal job of coaching the coaches, but also coaching the players and help raising them from young men to grown men. And that is not recruiting talk. It's real here. The relationships are real here. I've seen it in the 18 months I've been here. It's a testament to him. And it's the reason that, these guys perform well in the arena. Year in and year out. It's very consistent. And so it's a long answer to your question. Maybe someday. If it ever happens, I believe that the Lord has opened that door, and it's kind of a no-brainer to all of us. Because if it's not, I'm in a really, really good spot, and I'm happy to be here.
Coach, I appreciate you making the time. As we record this, we have just a hair over 2 months before that football game is. That seems like both a long time and a short time all in one. 2 months just seems like forever, but it's going to be here. And it's going to feel like this interview was yesterday.
Well, for me, it seems like it's tomorrow because we have a little bit of 4th and 2 attitude right now in this office. We got to get this, the game planning and the thoughts before we leave, and we're gonna pump the brakes and take a little time, especially with your families. I think that's important. These players have been around us here for almost a month, and I think they need more time on their own and the leadership to develop in the player-led meetings and the practices that they're going to do on their own. I think that's an important part of the growth of a program. But also coaches need to recharge your batteries and being around your families a lot more. And, believe you me, in mid-July, my wife will be like, it's time for you to go back to the office. So we'll be good when that time's here.
Biggest question of all, and I can't let you go before I ask this because I'll be criticized by fans if I don't. Will you be calling plays from press box or sideline?
I'm leaning towards the press box. It's a little easier to see.
Yep.
I am torn. I love the sidelines. I love the interaction with the players. I love being in the field, feeling the confidence of your players, or maybe not, and maybe feeling like, oh man, I need to settle them down with the call or a few calls to get the quarterback settled down or the O-line settled down, or how do I help them? It's easier to do that on the sidelines. The view's not very good down there. The view is way better up top. It's going to be a challenge though, because the view's not very good in Dublin. I've already know where the press box is, and we've scouted it out, and our people have shown me it's a bad view and it's a bad angle. It is for them too, but that'll be a little bit of a challenge. So I would say to be determined, but I'm probably leaning towards going up. Plus Avery, a year older, and he started for how many games has he started now? 14 games.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel real good if I do go up. Sean McGuire, our quarterback assistant, will be down there with him. Avery's good. So we'll see, but I'm kind of leaning that way.
He should be a guy named Sean McGuire should do really well in Dublin. He probably log in his best coaching. He's amongst his people like I will be. It'll be Coach, appreciate it. Get back to work.
Okay. Thanks, Fitz. Appreciate you. All right.
Thank you. That one was easy. I just talk little football, little ball, but I am amazed at how he has lived where his feet are. As someone from my perspective, how quickly life can change, and you can't undo something like cancer or a firing. You can't change that. That was out of your control. How do you deal with that? That's one of my things that I try to coach people in if they ever ask. Bad things are going to happen to all of us. Might lose a job, might lose a family member, might be our own health. How do you deal with it? What do you make of it? Do you find a positive in even the darkest moments? I've really tried to do that. And I think from talking to Matt Wells, you can probably see he does that too. And a lot of it, I'm going to be honest, is personal faith in God, that there is a plan. You don't know the plan. You need to trust the plan. That's a hard lesson for a lot of us. I so appreciate Matt Wells being my guest on this week's Life of Fitz. I don't know who we're going to have next week. We're going to find out. This is a fun journey. This has been a fun season so far. Make sure you go back and watch some of those older episodes if you haven't. I've had some incredible conversations with some incredible human beings so far this season. And men, always remember, if you're 45 or older, I want you to go to your doctor and say, I want my PSA scored. It's a prostate-specific antigen score. It's the best indicator to prostate health issues, including prostate cancer. If you're young enough where the doctor says you don't need it, tell them I want a baseline score so I know where I'm supposed to be in case in the future I'm not. And I know where you're supposed to be next week. Watch another edition of Life of Fitz. I'll see you next week. Take care, everybody. I appreciate you listening to this week's edition of Life of Fitz. And thank you to all the great people at Blueville Nursery for sponsoring our show. This has been a Spirit Street production.